Hello, it's a lovely good evening and welcome to Camnet Television News for all those watching across Zambia and around the world. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Our top stories in the news tonight: government cautioned against being excited over the $1.3 billion IMF deal. 110-year-old Lusaka woman misses on social cash transfer scheme for owning a television set. CCZ warns churches against allowing politicians to use the pulpit. In international news, Mali ex-rebels and the government return to talks after almost a year. And in sports news, Green Eagles cuts short Power Dynamos momentum on the FAS MTN Super League. For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet Television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet Television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel. Hello once again, another news in detail. A 110-year-old woman of Lusaka's Munali constituency in Ngombe compound who was left out on a social cash transfer program on account of possessing a television set has complained that life has been unbearable. Dorika Saili, who is being taken care of by her granddaughter, shares with Camnet News that she is unable to walk and spends most of her time sleeping. This came to light when the Zambia Community Development Initiative program came to her aid by donating assorted items. Details in this report.
Old people in Zambia are confronted with the challenges that are beyond their ability to overcome them, owing to their age and, most of all, social and economic setbacks. According to the World Bank, in 2021, population aged 65 years and above for Zambia was 2.2%. And this is in Ngombe compound in Lusaka's Munali constituency, where Dorika Saili, aged 110, lives. Life has not been easy for her, as she cannot walk and spends most of her time sleeping. Roida Kalima, her caregiver, shared with this journalist that it has not been easy as they lack many basic necessities.
Since my mom more than 10 years. But my challenge my basic. No movement could be coming in. So chab. Anytime when they mkabuya mzanpeza si moving. Bakafuna kwenda ku toilet ni periki ni kunyamula. Mniso chabe ni ba malonda. Ni malonda wa mbuya.
While some people of our age are on social protection schemes such as the Social Cash Transfer Program. For Dolly Saili, it is not the case, as she was not allowed to be on the program on account of possessing a television set.
TV nishimulekala bwino so no baba yeji efa banja ku ngombe na sati okay thank you since nipezeka kuna to kuti pangono siningakwanisa onyamula aba kwapereka ku ngombe ilibe pakuti niwapereke hivi mwantu ngati nikamba baona munganina maboza mbuye tintingali kuzankhala bachifundo bazakafika pano pa nyumba kuti wakaone ma challenges amene nipitamo.
Saturday was a lucky day as the Zambia Community Initiative Program came to our aid by donating assorted items in the company of its ambassadors who committed to help the aged in society.
Already know we've lost the whole culture of taking care of the extended family. So now what Zambia Community Development Initiative Program is trying to concentrate on is to take us back to the root where we were supposed to be united and bring back each and every part of our family member, be it the aged, the orphaned, and everyone who is supposed to be part of the family.
We've seen that as an organization that mostly aged people have been neglected. We don't see them sometimes put them on a budget or what. We just see other empowerment, youth empowerment and women empowerment, but we've forgotten about the aged people. These people now that they can't even cry for employment, or what they need is help from us.
The organization has opted to continue supporting Dolly Saili.
Us as an organization, we've actually adopted Our Lady. She's Our Lady and our organization now. This is not just a one-time thing, but it's a prolonged thing. We see ourselves to be sponsoring in a way that we can be sponsoring her. It can be weekly, it can be monthly, but at the time that we have, we'll be able to sponsor her in terms of what she needs.
The gesture has brought joy upon this family.
Safu. Sambia kwa chef ya mablangeti.
Alumba.
Vanene.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
A family of Lusaka's George compound has been left homeless after fire swept through their house, destroying all household property. The incident happened in the morning of Saturday, and the cause of the fire is not yet known. The affected family is calling on well-wishers to help them get back on their feet again. More in this report.
She could not help but cry uncontrollably as she and her family members watched helplessly as their house was in flames Saturday morning. As many were waking up to their daily chores and running their day-to-day errands, this family of Lusaka's George compound was far from such plans. This morning, this family has been left stranded after fire gutted their house, leaving the family loose property worth hundreds. The owner of the house, who is in her 60s, has called upon kind-hearted people to come to her aid. Her dreams seem shattered as the house built by her children and the property bought by them have been left to ashes. The cause of the fire is not yet known.
Amuna wangu wanamwalira 1994. Wanamwalira na si abana bangono. So ndiye huko manje bana bajitikanga bakula manje ambapo waya yako ndiye kunchita kunimangirako kanyumba. Bana wanimangirako kanyumba so ni nyumba ni pamene yapya nyumba. So manje nichamne nipepa nitandizo nilineka tilipe mwamuna ine. Nilipe mwamuna mnawanga na malira nikudala. Bana nishibakali bangono onse. Njamene nipempa ako bomba, njamene nipempa ako shuwa, njamene navutikira ine. Ayo.
Eyewitnesses at the scene described the incident as a calamity that has left the family in misery.
So oleke sitiza kapata zata nisa bwanji wanza tukientu atanze munga mantuoneke. Ani yesanga tiyankane nako kang'ono kali konse tenti watandizile wanzatu ndabano poyambira paulete bana mafamilies olete zona mpepo eneliko mablanketi pose paonongeka aliyezo osipereka ngachose kali konse tiwatandize wanzatu tisabalekerere anaza chapati neninavo nakaso tenti watandizaili tenti ziwana manyumba mwatu malaiti tizimakingashuwa tazimya.
Meanwhile, George Compound Lima Ward 30 Councillor Daniel Mwewa has called on well wishers to come on board and assist the family.
Of temporary shelter, otherwise this burden is too much to bear. So I'm just appealing to anyone to come on board and help, and so how we are going to help. And I think we are also going to engage the office of the district commissioner, because this is a disaster, to see how the office of district commissioner, even the disaster management, how they are going to come in and help. Otherwise this is a calamity. So I just urge the community just to come together. Let's show love to the family, let's show solidarity. Otherwise it's not easy, it's unbearable.
Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Global Traders Association Vice President Nevas Nkandu has charged that the newly created Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprises has so far not performed according to the business community's expectation. In an interview with Camnet TV, Mr. Nkandu says despite the formation of the ministry to help SMEs, nothing tangible is being seen that is helping address challenges they face. Meanwhile, Mr. Nkandu has called on traders across the country to come on board to help in fostering business development for future generations. He adds that if harnessed, the sector has a high potential of reducing unemployment and poverty levels in Zambia.
The newly formed Ministry of Medium and Small Enterprises, which to us has not been beneficial because since its formation last year, there is little that we are able to see or rather benefit as SMEs. We expect SMEs to start getting the benefit from this ministry. I'm sure it was formed to enhance capacity amongst SMEs, but I think the budget is almost coming to an end and we are unable to get any benefit. Yeah. We expect this ministry to start engaging us in maybe policy formation and on how they can also, we can work together in forming policies that will help enhance capacity amongst our traders.
Former Democratic Party President Harry Calaba's spokesperson Mwanawina Kwibisa has mocked the celebration of the $1.3 billion United States bailout package that the government has managed to clinch with the International Monetary Fund, IMF. In an interview with Camnet TV News, Mr. Kwibisa charges that the $1.3 billion United States bailout package is just a drop in the ocean and must not be celebrated. He has challenged government to come forth and disclose the economic reforms on how an ordinary citizen will benefit from this package. Meanwhile, National Democratic Congress Party Faction President George Isichula says it is unfair for anyone to claim that the $1.3 billion IMF bailout package clinched by government is just a drop in the ocean if it will help transform the economy of the country. More in this report.
Many Zambians have continued to celebrate the clinching of the $1.3 billion United States bailout from the International Monetary Fund. However, despite the country clinching the deal after 7 years of waiting, there are concerns from various stakeholders which have sparked debate, with some claiming that this will end in tears. After becoming the first African country to default on its debt during the COVID pandemic era in 2020, the $1.3 billion United States bailout seemed to have brought a sense of excitement as most Zambians are expecting a trickle-down effect on the back of a massive employment drive that has seen thousands employment in the health and education sector. However, those in opposition have mocked the IMF bailout package, claiming that there is nothing to celebrate about, as they describe the $1.3 billion United States IMF bailout package as just a drop in the ocean. Former DP spokesperson Harry Calawa-led faction Mwanawina Kwibisa has challenged the government to disclose the economic reforms that have been agreed upon with the International Monetary Fund and how ordinary citizens will benefit.
So we want to know why and what the conditions are. It's simple. So basically, I am not excited or to dance about the IMF deal. What is the deal? What is it? So Zambian people, how does it relate to my well-being, my salaries? We are ticking, now it's 1 year gone. Is it adding? Yes, there are 30,000, but there should have been more. And how are those 30,000, in retrospect, going to add to the debt paying? That's a good question you should ask yourself. As journalists, ask, so you have employed 30,000, how is it going to float? Do you know how much Zambia owns or owes? We owe a lot of money. So 1.3 is a drop in the ocean, and it's not coming now, by the way.
Meanwhile, National Democratic Congress Party faction leader George Sichula says the $1.3 billion United States bailout is a step in the right direction to help revamp the country's economy. Mr. Sichula, whose party is in an alliance with the current administration, says should applaud the government for the job done, saying it is unfair for anyone to claim the $1.3 billion bailout is a drop in the ocean.
$1.3 billion is a lot. It will help us to stabilize the economy, and all those deficits in the ministries will be covered by this money. So we cannot agree with the opposition that this money is a drop in the ocean. We need to, in fact, give praise where it is due. I think these are the politics that I know. Once the government does something good, you praise them a bit, you encourage them, you say you have done it. That's how we do it. You cannot rubbish everything. Okay? Where they do something nice, we say you have done it. So we are saying as NDC, President Hakainde Hichilema has done it. This new Dawn government has done it. And so far so good, things are happening. The best the opposition leaders must do is to learn.
Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
New Heritage Party President Chishala Kateka has called on government to place a law that will protect and ring-fence land that will prohibit non-Zambians from leasing virgin land. In an interview, Ms. Kateka says there is a need for policymakers to formulate laws that will ensure that vulnerable citizens are not mistreated and denied the opportunity to own good land at the expense of foreigners. She reiterates that Parliament must pass a law that will prohibit non-Zambians and non-Zambian entities from leasing land for more than 35 years, adding that the country has been extremely careless in safeguarding its heritage.
Poor Zambians are treated like second-class citizens. If those people in Kasompe were considered true citizens by the government, they would not have had their hard-earned property destroyed in that callous manner. 2, the release by government of Land Commission reports and to have these made available to all citizens. This should be done by, among other measures, digitizing land maps and making them accessible to the general public. 3, the conducting of a genuine nationwide land audit. And 4, for Parliament to pass a law that will truly protect and ring-fence land, our common heritage, exclusively for Zambian citizens and posterity. This law must prohibit non-Zambians from leasing virgin land in this country in line with good practice in all progressive countries around the world. And 5, Parliament to pass a law that will prohibit non-Zambians and non-Zambian entities from leasing land for more than 35 years.
Apollo Cancer Center has developed a new cancer treatment known as proton therapy. This proton therapy cancer treatment targets tumors with high accuracy, allowing for the favorable outcomes with low side effects. Unlike the common radiotherapy cancer treatment in Zambia, Apollo is extending its dose to the Zambian doctors for training on how to treat cancer using proton therapy. Speaking at a symposium held in Lusaka Friday evening, Proton Center Associate Consultant and Radiation Oncologist Sham Sandar says this is one of the most effective ways of treating cancer. And speaking at the same event, Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary LUSAKA Kasonka says government is open to initiatives that will effectively offer treatment to cancer among other ailments in Zambia. More in this report.
Cancer is one of the most leading causes of death worldwide. More than 2/3 of deaths due to cancers occur in low and middle-income countries where Zambia belongs. According to data, cervical cancer is one of the most prevalent cancers, which is preventable by screening and vaccination. According to demographic data obtained from the Zambia Statistics Agency between 2007 and 2015, the 7 most cancer-prevalent districts in Zambia were Luangwa, Kawe, Lusaka, Monze, Mongo, Katete, and Chipata. Cervical cancer, prostate cancer, breast cancer, and Kaposi sarcoma were the most 4 prevalent cancers, as well as major causes of cancer-related deaths in Zambia. The number of cancerous diseases show that Zambia may not have the capacity to register cancer treatment in all districts, making people delay treatment leading to deaths. Apollo Cancer Center is in Zambia and held a symposium Friday where they shared knowledge on the new treatment of cancer known as proton therapy.
Therapy is a form of radiation therapy. So conventionally we've been using X-rays to treat cancers, and proton therapy is a charged particle with a mass, and we are directing that particle into the body to treat a cancer cell, to kill a cancer cell. The advantage of this being the proton stops inside the body at a finite distance, so exactly the cancer cell is killed, and the surrounding healthy normal tissue is not affected with radiation. By reducing the dose spillage to the surrounding healthy normal tissues, you try to bring the side effects related to the radiation dose to the healthy normal tissues.
Apollo Hospital's Deputy General Manager International Marketing, Amit, says Apollo has also opened its doors to training Zambian doctors in this kind of treatment.
In LUSAKA currently you have wonderful doctors, you have a wonderful cancer department here, but in terms of diagnosis, like Zambia does not have a PET CT right now. This is equipment which falls under the Department of Nuclear Medicine, and we inject nuclear medicine into the patient body and then capture the images. It will give a clear picture about the cancer stage of the patient. You are able to find out whether it is localized or whether it is spread to the neighboring organs and all. So this one investigation will help the clinician to establish the correct diagnosis. So in fact, even just for diagnosis purposes, if patient travel, and doctor at Apollo will interact with the doctor at Zambia, and both of them will decide the patient's line of treatment. This will actually help the patients only.
Meanwhile, Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary Dr. LUSAKA Kasonka says cancer and cardiovascular diseases are one of government's top priority in the health sector.
Delighted to share that health budgets are being and have been revised upwards in this and in the coming years in order to enhance training opportunities for skills upgrade and to provide sufficient funds in order to acquire diagnostic equipment. Obviously, to achieve this goal, the private-public partnership is going to be extremely essential. Has been a long-term partner to the Ministry of Health, and I'm excited to recognize the extension of this partnership to the Zambia Medical Association.
Sharon Kalimbola, Camnet News, LUSAKA.
Minister of Tourism Rodney Sikumba has advised tourism operators to fire workers who do not have the passion to aid the growth of the sector. Mr. Sikumba says people should stop using the sector as a stepping stone to what they desire to become. The minister has underscored the need to improve the training of personnel in order to cultivate a cadre of human resources needed to improve the standards in the hospitality industry. And the minister disclosed that the formulation of a bill that will enhance citizens' participation in the sector has advanced. He was speaking when he officiated at an event of the Hotel and Catering Association of Zambia in Lusaka Friday.
Looking at Zambia's tourism sector, international visitors In 2019, 849 million United States dollars, representing 10% of the country's total exports. During the same period, the sector contributed 7% of gross domestic product, amounting to 1.7 billion US dollars and 7.2% of total employment. Talks have been about increasing the country's GDP and improving the participation of Zambians in the sector. Speaking during a stakeholders meeting in Lusaka Friday, Hotel and Catering Association of Zambia Vice President Nakaumbi Shamapuka raised a number of issues, including the need to improve training and local participation in the tourism sector.
Might consider promoting the locals to enjoy their fair share of the natural resources by deliberately making access to land in these areas affordable to the local investors. Second point, hospitality training schools. There has been a good number of hospitality schools that have opened in the recent past, offering training in the hospitality studies. The concern, however, is that the trainees that graduate from the schools are really never ready to be employed for the hospitality industry because the knowledge is below par. The ministry, with the help of association, needs to check and inspect all these schools and interrogate the qualifications of the lecturers.
And officiating the event, Minister of Tourism, Lord Nisikumba, advised operators not to keep workers who have no passion to aid the growth of the sector.
I, for one, believe that this particular sector requires a cadre of young boys and girls who take hospitality as their career, not as a stepping stone. No, that I refuse. And if you're going to be employing people who's in the kitchen, who's on front office, who's in housekeeping, and to tell you to say, I'm studying economics, I'm studying law, or I want to be a doctor, please fire them. Because they don't want, their heart is not into tourism. It's important that they put their hearts and minds into the sector for them to deliver the required service that the client out there requires.
The minister says they have an open door policy while focusing on unlocking transactions and systems in the tourism sector. He says they want to collapse the multiplicity of licenses being charged by various ministries, a move he said is killing the sector.
The bill is actually being passed in Parliament, which will compel foreign investors to give an opportunity. As I could be wrong, I stand to be corrected, but I think it's something close to about anything more below $5 million or so should be a preserve of the locals. So he said, in essence, His Excellency the President has been on record in so many forums talking about an opportunity for you, the locals, to participate in the running of this economy. The President has been on many occasions being quoted as inviting you, the locals, to take the driving seat in running this economy. A country that will not have a private sector that is not built.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
This is Camnet Television News. We'll take our first break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
It's census time. The 2022 Census of Population and Housing will be conducted from 18th August to 14th September 2022. The census collects a lot of data for use in various aspects of social and economic planning for the country. We are all required to participate in the census by being counted. You will be counted from your usual dwelling place by a census enumerator. Please receive and cooperate with the census enumerator and provide the required information when you will be visited. Your responses to the census questions will be treated with strict confidentiality and will be used for statistical purposes only.
Hi, I'm coming to count you.
Because everyone counts. This message is brought to you by the Zambia Statistics Agency with support from the UNFPA.
Skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum Products for that perfect skin.
Welcome back. We'll continue with the news. The Council of Churches in Zambia has cautioned churches against giving politicians the pulpit to use in lobbying for votes ahead of by-elections. CCZ Secretary General Father Emmanuel Chikoya says as the country holds by-elections in Kwacha and Kabushi on the Copperbelt and the Luangwa Council Chairperson election, the church must not be seen to be taking sides. Father Chikoya says the church must stick to its role of preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ, uniting the nation, and speaking against ills in society.
The politician has no place in the pulpit. You've caught it correct. There's a pulpit, there's a lectern, there's a podium for announcements, and so the politician has no space in the pulpit because that's not their space. Imagine a preacher going to Parliament and sitting in the Speaker's chair or wherever. That's awkward. And so we need to wise up as church leaders and provide that neutral kind of leadership. Let's not have a scenario where we are the ones that are so partisan. We begin to prophesy, we call it prophecy, when we're actually just speaking under the influence of gifts. And so we don't, traditional leaders, church leaders should be able to be very wise in their interaction and even receiving of the so-called support and gifts. Why is it that, I mean, it's a no-brainer. Why should they increase during election times and then it goes down and again it repeats? I think we need to wise up, and that is why I've always advocated and will always advocate for a church that is financially strong, sustainable, and able to diversify its income sources. A poverty-stricken church is always vulnerable, but we can live in dignity without having to be so compromised because of that is dangled in our faces. So I'm a firm believer that we need to do the right things and make strategic investments so that we can go to any table or receive any visitor for that matter without getting too carried away or excited because of what.
The Zambia Information and Communications Technology Authority, ZICTA, says it has heightened sensitization of SIM card registration following the recent deregistration of 2.1 million SIM cards found to be involved in incidences of mobile money fraud. In an interview, ZICTA Communications Manager Hanford Chaba says cases of mobile money fraud have also reduced since the deregistration exercise, as the authority now receives about 10 reports a day compared to about 50 previously. He adds that schools, markets and communities have been targeted for sensitization as one way of enhancing citizen awareness. The regulating authority in February 2022 embarked on an exercise of deregistering more than 10 SIM cards registered under one name.
The overall goal is to ensure that whatever SIM card that I'm using is the SIM card that bears my details. That is all we want. And once you do that, it will help us in ensuring that we avoid all these scammers that we are seeing on the market. Because I'll be responsible as I'll be using the SIM card. So, a caution to members of the public, please do not engage in buying pre-registered SIM cards, because pre-registered SIM cards they are not your SIM cards. It's not your SIM card. So in a situation where you go to the market and buy a SIM card which is registered under Mr. X, and Mr. X is a criminal who is on police wanted list, you'll be the first person to be stopped. And by the time they establish that it's you, you would have spent so many months of inconvenience. Sometimes you can even be in sales. So please desist from buying pre-registered SIM cards. Ensure that you know, it's a very simple procedure. Just carry your national ID, go there, buy a SIM card, register it, give them your live photo facial. That's it. Then you have a SIM card under your name. It doesn't even take that long where somebody can say, maybe I will need, it's quite procedural, I'm very busy, I need to this SIM card right about now. So it's just an appeal to members of the public. They need to comply. Let them help us so that we can also help them better.
You're watching Camnet Television and not just another channel. We'll be back with international and sports news after this break.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver Precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. Renglow, your smart irrigation partner.
It's census time. The 2022 Census of Population and Housing will be conducted from 18th August to 14th September 2022. The census collects a lot of data for use in various aspects of social and economic planning for the country. We are all required to participate in the census by being counted. You will be counted from your usual dwelling place by a census enumerator. Please receive and cooperate with the census enumerator and provide the required information when you will be visited. Your responses to the census questions will be treated with strict confidentiality and will be used for statistical purposes only.
Hi, I'm coming to count you.
Because everyone counts.
This message is brought to you by the Zambia Statistics Agency with support from the UNFPA.
In international news, after almost a year away from the negotiating table, ex-rebels and the government in Mali have resumed talks. On Friday, an alliance of Tuareg and Arab rebel groups, pro-government armed groups, and the government met with a monitoring team of Algiers agreement signed in 2015. Algerian Minister of Foreign Affairs Ramtan Lamamra said the talks had been constructive. In other news, Kenyans are nervously waiting for the ruling of the country's Supreme Court to find out the result of last month's presidential election. Deputy President William Ruto was declared winner after scraping to victory by less than 2 percentage points against his opponent Raila Odinga, who is now challenging the result. Kenya's Supreme Court said it had identified 9 issues to determine the outcome of petitions challenging the result of the August 9 presidential election, including whether any irregularities were substantial enough to nullify the poll. For more in international news, here's a roundup.
After almost a year away from the negotiating table, ex-rebels and the government in Mali have resumed talks. On Friday, an alliance of Tuareg and Arab rebel groups, pro-government armed groups and the government met with the monitoring committee of a major peace deal signed in 2015. A number of observations were made, he says. The comments that were made by the government representative were satisfactory in content and tone. And I'm confident that at our next meeting we will make even more significant progress. It's the first time the groups have met in 11 months to discuss the Algiers agreement, with participants feeling hopeful. He says the government of Mali and the parties have once again reiterated the commitment to work for the full and consensual implementation of the Peace and Reconciliation Agreement. This is a strong message, but we expect action. So far, there's been slow progress on the deal, which aims to reintegrate 26,000 former rebels, but the government is feeling positive. What is more important is that all the Malian parties have renewed their mutual trust, he says. And they're in the process of giving each other the benefit of good faith in dealing with the issues. There's been turmoil in Mali since its independence and jihadist insurgencies in the north in 2012, along with 2 military coups in as many years. Kenyans are nervously waiting for the ruling of the Supreme Court on the result of last month's presidential election. Deputy President William Ruto was declared winner after scraping to victory by less than 2 percentage points against his opponent Raila Odinga, who's challenging the result.
Okay, I think as a country we have grown. Because by now, if we are supposed to have skirmishes, they will be there already. Yeah, but I think we don't have any. As a country we have grown.
The court says it's attempting to answer 9 questions, and if the result is nullified, it could lead to fresh elections, which worries many voters.
It will be very bad, surely. Because for now, it's hard. Can you imagine? Then another one, it will be very hard. Yeah. the economy will be more down.
No election in the past 20 years has gone unchallenged, and both Odinga and Ruto have put together huge legal teams to argue their point.
Former Army Officer Modou Fall, nicknamed the Plastic Man, has been campaigning for the conservation of the Senegalese environment for 16 years. He's focused his campaign on the problems caused by single-use plastics, particularly plastic bags. He stands out with his outfit made from discarded bags and cups. All the plastic bags that are thrown away end up in the sea or in garbage dumps. So I dress like this to draw people's attention, to make them aware that there are more than 5 million plastic bags thrown away daily in Senegal. Many people think I'm crazy, and I take that as an opportunity to pass on my message. Fall has also taken his plastics campaign to Senegal's coast, where beaches and landing sites have not been spared by litter. The country has struggled to properly manage waste disposal, something that threatens the lucrative fishing sector. Plastic bags have caused a lot of damage to the sea. They cling to the fishing nets and prevent fishermen from catching fish. We only have the sea as our wealth, so the fight of this man, Modou Fall, is honorable and comes at the right time. Fall decided to trek around Senegal to demand the authorities implement a law banning the production, import, possession, distribution, and use of low-micron plastic bags. Despite being in place for some years, the law has never been made operational. My objective is to push the state of Senegal to sign the decrees of application of the law relating to the use of plastic bags. It is only these application decrees that will allow us to fight against these plastic bags and to preserve our environment for future generations. The responsibility of industries also matters. Senegal still produces 200,000 tons of plastic waste per year, of which only 9,000 tons are recycled or reused. The rest is dumped in nature and the sea.
It's now time for sports news. In sports news tonight, Green Eagles left it late to claim all 3 points against Power Dynamos and end their 100% start to the season. An 82nd minute goal from Amiti Shamende was enough to see Green Eagles beat Power Dynamos 1-0. Newly promoted Muza FC recorded their first win of the season, beating Chambeshi 3-2 in Mazabuka. Forest Rangers played out to a 1-0 draw with Buildcon in Ndola Derby. Changa Rangers and Green Buffaloes played out to a goalless draw in Chingola, while Zesco United recorded their first victory of the season away at Nkwazi with a goal from new signing Keziron Kizito in the 81st minute. Newly promoted Lumwana Radiance faced fellow promoted side in Napsa Stars. Lumwana Radiance won it by 1-0, an own goal scored by Daniel Adoko. Napsa Stars will wait for the first victory of the season. And still in sports news, Camnet Stars Academy has beaten Kabwata Dynamos by 2-0 in Saturday's encounter. Camnet Stars coach Fiudes Musonda says putting up a team is not easy, describing Saturday's game as an exhibition of tactical discipline, hence scoring 2 goals. Meanwhile, Kabwata Dynamos coach says the boys on his side were equal to the task despite not utilizing the chances and scoring goals. Camnet Stars was playing their second game in the First Division 2 league.
Okay, enough is enough. Enough is enough.
Won again the second game, a very good game by the players. Tactical discipline has made us win today's match, and if you look at the way we played, we were ambushing them and we are going for the counter attacks where we countered and then scored 2 goals, which was beautiful from the boys. When you look at the Kabwata Dynamos, it's a very good side and it was a very tough match for us. Tactically they were good at possessional, but we didn't go for possessional today. We went for a direct play which came into our favor by scoring 2 goals, and I think going forward we are okay because this is just a new team. Blending 2 teams together, it's not easy, but technical with our head coach Chikwanda, we are doing a great job by combining these boys. I think when we play the 4th game, we'll see a lot of good football from Camnet Stars.
The team performed very well. It's just like, unfortunately, we couldn't utilize our chances, and I think both 2 goals they scored us, we just give them the goals. Yeah, we did the best, and we were strong. Since second half we became strong, but we couldn't utilize our chances to score goals. From the defense and the midfield we are doing well, but I think we just missed some up front to score goals. That's what we can do at the moment. We're going to work on the strikers, to score goals.
To end Camnet Television News, we'll take a look at the stories making headlines once again. Government cautioned against being excited over the $1.3 billion IMF deal. 110-year-old LUSAKA woman misses on social cash transfer program scheme for owning a TV set. CCZ warns churches against allowing politicians to use the pulpit. In international news, Mali ex-rebels and the government return to talks after almost a year. And in sports news, Green Eagles cuts short Power Dynamos momentum on the FAS MTN Super League. We now look at the Camnet verse of the day, which is coming from Isaiah 48, verse 17. This is what the Lord says: "You are Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. I am the Lord your God, who teaches you what is best for you, who directs you in the way you should go." Again, thank you so much for watching the news. My name is Jeffrey Siambo. Bye-bye.